Hi, my name is Aurora Sanchez. This is my presentation on supporting communication and language development. My outline is language skills and development, strategies for supporting language development, connecting to course resources, conclusion and references. My domain is language and communication for toddlers 16 to 36 months. The purpose is to understand language and communication development, identify progress and indicators, supporting toddlers and in communication and language development. The ELAF, which is the Head Start Early Learning Outcome Framework. The Head Start Early Learning Framework helps educators and other early learning staff members to understand the timing and sequence of child development and learning from birth to 5. It gives a framework that is broken down into developmental progress and indicators within domains, subdomains, and goals. I got this on page 5 on the ELAF. Learning skills and development. Children learn children learn language from people around them and their interactions with those people. Language is acquired from the outside in, meaning that children speak out before they can internalize language. Receptive language is another language skill. Children are learning how to pronounce sounds and words while also learning how to understand the sounds and words they are hearing. Expressive language. Toddlers use grunts, sounds, and gestures to communicate. The children began to express themselves to create small sentences. The subdomains for this age group in communication and speaking. The goal 3 is child communicates needs and wants non-verbally and by using language, using combinations of sounds and simple sentences or signs in a variety of situations, using simple sentences such as 3 to 4 word sentences to communicate needs and wants. Goal 4, children uses nonverbal communication and language to engage others in interaction, initiates and responds in conversations with others, participates in simple conversation with others that are maintained by back and forth exchanged ideas or information, engages in simple conversations by expressing own feelings, thoughts, and ideas to others. The continuance of language skills and development, subdomain communicating and speaking. There is goal 5, child uses increasingly complex language and conversations with others. Uses sentences of 3 or more words in conversation with others. Ask and answers simple questions in conversations with others. Refers to past or future events in conversation with others. Goal 6. The child initiates nonverbal communication and language to learn and gain information. Ask questions in varieties of ways. Repeats or rephrases questions until a response is received. Subdomain vocabulary has goal 7. Children understand an increasingly number of words used in communication with others. Shows understanding of the meaning of common words used in daily activities. Attends to new words used in conversation with others. Understands most positional words such as on, under, up, or down. Goal 8, child uses an increasing number of words in communication and conversations with others. Shows rapid growth in number of words or signs used in conversations with others. Demonstrates a vocabulary of at least 300 words in home language. Ask questions about the meaning of new words. Language skills and development similarities are sounds such as babbling patterns, serve and return babbling sounds of ba and ka and others, repeating sounds that the caregiver, teacher, or parent makes um, after they hear the child make the sound, word mapping, labeling and connecting images and objects. Overextension is associating object images with similarities such as shapes, under extensions using categorize objects images as one in all the same. So here's the picture as an example of those two. With she's holding an apple And that apple is round, so she's thinking it's a ball, the same as a rubber ducky or a real ducky, they're not sure. And then, so individualized differences. Many factors can impact a difference in language development, such as environmental factors, depending on the child's environment, will have an impact on the exposure to language and communication. A child's personality and how they interact with others can also have an impact on their development of language. So if a child's very shy and doesn't want to speak to anybody around them, the child may have some speech delays or may not be expressing as many words as other children who have a personality that is always talking and not shy. Culture has an impact on how learning language because of their native language and home language can also have trouble with the interpretation or the environment around them. Strategies for supporting language development. This is an example that I use. The image, I use that activity, but I also got the image off of the activity page for Brown Bear. But it is encouraging turn taking using this book because they're taking turns in discussing and retelling the story while painting and increasing their vocabulary. Interactive storytelling, they're using props and hands-on activities and using vocabulary and words to use the storytelling at the same time. Conversations during play. So during play with Brown Bear, what they can do is have the toy animals that represent the animals in the books. And while they're playing, they can have conversations back and forth, talking about animal sounds, textures, colors, everything that relates to the book. And it gives the teacher the opportunity to use open-ended questions. Using culturally relevant books or songs. So this book can also be turned into a song, and depending where the child's at, they can see this book even as a culture related because I do know that a lot of um, older toddlers use this book. It's like a culture in the toddler classrooms. Every time I go, the book Brown Bear, what do you see is on the bookshelf or is being used in the curriculum. So this activity covers and supports the subdomain of vocabulary, goal 8, and for 8 to 18 months, you can use this as a progress indicator, saying if the children imitates new sounds or signs to use some words or signals for naming or making simple words. And 16 through 36 months, using increasing numbers of words in communication and conversation with others and adds new vocabulary to words regularly. So strategies for supporting language development. Another one I have is building with blocks and subdomain communicating and speaking. These support goal 4. Child uses nonverbal communication and language to engage others in interactions because building with blocks, you're having conversations during play. So you're talking about the colors and the texture of the blocks, the sizes, the shapes. You're introducing new words to toddlers on that. You're using numbers. You're using different strategies to create new sounds and words. Like if it falls over, you're going to say, "Oh, it fell." So the children are repeating a new sound. Oh. It also encourages turn taking, taking turns and discussing, and it's also like good tool of serve and return. You're making the sound of oh, and the child's repeating the sound back to you, or you're talking and the child is talking about the blocks that they're building, or the tower they made, or their house, or their mommy and their daddy, or their grandma and grandpa. Connecting the course resources. I found these very helpful. Why the ones that I connected with more, it was of course the Head Start Early Learning Framework outcomes. That is a good way to help support in child outcomes, assessments, observations. It is a great tool that I use that I also support educators in my career, in my role. I always refer them to that as long and also with our standards for Washington State. Um, The course materials on how children learn language, basics of language, language development journey, sounds of and language, and vocabulary growth. Those are all good breakdowns because they're good supporting materials and understanding language development. It helps with identifying milestones and possible concerns. It also helps with learning to observe and connect with child outcomes and lesson planning, and it also helps to individualize. So using the course materials and the framework can help in all those things to help individualize for a child. So my conclusion is that language development is very important. I am no longer in the classroom. I retired from working in the classroom 5 years ago. I worked in ECE field since 2001 with all ages, but now I'm an early learning coach. I can use this to improve my mentoring and coaching with educators on my caseload because language is all around us. It starts in the early years of life and it's a skill that is developed over time. Through the reading materials, I was able to better understand that language development is not just receptive and expressive, but also understanding the basics and the strategies on how to support language. Using the ELOFs is very important to understand the child's development and reaching their milestones. It is a breakdown into an easy to read and follow breakdown of progress, development, and indicators. Thank you for taking time to hear my presentation. And here are my references. Here's the one for the activity of the brown bears on top, and then the rest are from our reading materials and our ELOF. Thank you.